You can get a microphone for like $100 that's going to be 80% or 90% as good as a microphone that's like $1,000 or $2,000. As you go up and up in prices, $5,000, $10,000 for a microphone, you're getting the tiniest little percentage better each time. You're not getting twice as good, 5 times as good. A microphone is going to sound good if you go with a reputable company like Rode or Audio-Technica. Okay, welcome back to the first real official episode of Oh My Pod, a podcast all about podcasting. If you listen to our first episode, then you know who we are. You know why we're doing this. If you haven't, maybe go take a listen. It's like 5 minutes long. And on this episode, we're going to be talking about 6 podcast lies, or what we see as lies. And I think we're right, because we work with a lot of clients, and these are things that we have heard them say to us, or we have heard other people say to us that we know for a fact just isn't actually true. In most cases, there's obviously exceptions.
So the first one would be, you need the best microphone for the best audio. A lot of people come to us and they're really worried about how expensive their equipment is going to be.
They think it's going to be like, $1,000 or $2,000 for a microphone or something. The microphone that we actually recommend is around $100. When you're working with microphones, and like I said, I'm a singer and I do a lot of stuff in mainstream dance music where my voice is actually being played like live at concerts or on radio and stuff like that. And I've recorded with the same microphone for a very long time. It's not an expensive microphone. And I know for a fact that a microphone that is half the cost is not going to be half as good. And as you keep on going up in prices in microphones, you can get a microphone for like $100 that's going to be like 80% or 90% as good as a microphone that's like $1,000 or $2,000. As you go up and up in prices, $5,000, $10,000 for a microphone, you're getting the tiniest little percentage better each time. You're not getting twice as good, 5 times as good. A microphone is going to sound good if you go with a reputable company like Rode or Audio-Technica. Like these headphones are from Audio-Technica. And so that's really all you need. That's what I would recommend. And that's honestly, like, I would have no problem using a microphone like that for your podcast. If you're going to start a podcast and you're really, really just wanting to start now, you don't even want to order a microphone, even Apple headphones will be okay because they're going to give you enough. You really don't have to worry about your audio being perfect in podcasting, because what's really important is that your message is as clear as possible and that the content is actually as good as possible. The audio is actually a second thought, which actually leads us into the second myth, which is that your audio always needs to be perfect.
And we know this is not true, because I think me and Justin both listened to podcasts where the quality was terrible, way worse than Apple headphones would give you.
So bad.
Exactly, but we're so interested in the content that we still try to listen to it, even though sometimes it's really hard.
Yeah, and this is not saying that you need to go that you should go and record with a toilet paper roll or something. Exactly. Like you can do everything you can to get perfect audio, but if you're going to spend your time worrying and stressing about audio being completely perfect, just know that I've listened to several podcasts where I actually had to struggle to listen to the host because they recorded in a coffee shop or they recorded a live performance or something, or a live talk or something, and you can barely hear, but you're still trying to make out the content, and you're still so glued to it, and eventually your ears just adapt, and it's fine. Obviously, if you're recording in a setting like this, your audio is never going to be terrible as long as you follow some basic steps. You can look at the steps that we have listed in the 9-step PDF, because that will honestly help you make sure that you don't get terrible audio. The third lie would be that you need a professional recording studio. So again, I'll go back to the fact that I am a singer. I record professional quality vocals in a lot of different places. This is by no means a professional studio that we're in right now. We move around a lot. We do the best we can to set up wherever we are, but it's not perfect. And if you're renting somewhere, you can't make a lot of changes to the space. Well, you can, but you really can't like nail stuff into the walls and stuff like that. So the idea that you need a professional recording studio, it really is not true. I can say that for a fact. You can hear how good our audio sounds in here, and we're just in like a garage side room. So
yeah, and not having a perfect space or perfect quotation marks space should not keep you from podcasting.
No, absolutely not. You should just set your mic up in your bedroom, honestly, in your closet. Again, the sheet that we made tells you kind of where, how to set up as best you can. So number 4, that you need to be scripted and perfectly well spoken. So I will preface this with saying that there are shows that do this, that do a very good job of it. It is an option. You can perfectly script your show. You can, if you're editing yourself, if you're getting a company to do it, you can edit every single every single every single filler word out and make it sound like the person is a, God among men when they're speaking. Mm-hmm. But why would you not do that? Because it's going to take you so much more time, effort, and stress. And the people who start shows like that, they know that in advance, and they do it anyways because they're willing to make that sacrifice. But for the average person who's wanting to start a podcast, to get their ideas out there, to get their content out there, I really think that podcasting lends itself perfectly to authenticity. And that means that you actually want to hear the person mess up, because what kind of conversation sounds like robots talking to each other or sounds like someone is talking on live television or something?
Yeah, and you listen to somebody because you also kind of like their personality, and it comes across like that way better than if it was perfect.
When they mess up a little bit, you can actually hear a part of the real person behind the mic. I think that it's very old-fashioned to expect the podcast to be perfectly scripted, almost like radio or like TV. And content is everywhere becoming more authentic. And I think that's why podcasting is exploding like it is, because you're getting to hear the real person. So honestly, like, you can write a little tiny script that outlines the general details that you're going to want to talk about. But I would say just pick up your mic and just start talking. That's our advice. Number 5, podcasts won't make you any money. So I'm honestly not sure that a lot of people say this, but I think that's the wrong idea when you think about the podcast making money. So a podcast itself may not generate a lot of income until you have massive listening numbers, downloads on each episode. Until you're at about 1,000 downloads per episode within the first 7 days of releasing, there's not even a point really to look at sponsorship, unless you have a very niche audience, like unless you're doing a podcast for fishermen in Norway who use...
if you want to do some affiliate type thing.
Yeah, like there's still ways to make a bit of money, but I think that where the money actually comes from when you're starting a podcast is from the potential clients that you can get for your business. If you are a business, if you're an entrepreneur, if you run like a coaching business, we have clients who run a coaching business, clients who are real estate agents, there is going to be clients who will come from the podcast. They will listen to you talk. They will fall in love with your message, with your personality, and they will come to you because they want to get to know you personally, and they might want to work with your business. And that is the main place that the money comes from. If you're lucky enough to build a massive podcast over time, it does take time, then by all means, grab those sponsorships and your podcast will pay for itself and then some. I know for podcasts that are up in the 10,000, 100,000 downloads per episode, they can charge 2,000 to 5,000 per ad spot, per 30-second ad spot. Those numbers change a lot, so don't quote me on that, but the last time I checked, that was around what they were getting. Obviously, like I said, the more niche the podcast, the more likely a company will be willing to actually put an ad spot on, because they know that your audience is interested in that specific thing.
Exactly. That's another huge tip, I think.
Yeah, it's huge. Yeah, we'll definitely talk about like niche.
That's definitely something we will talk about. Yes.
Yeah.
And the last one
number 6. Yeah.
Yeah, number 6 is podcasting takes a lot of time.
Yeah. So podcasting can take a lot of time, and it can also be really stressful. But I'll explain a couple ways in which it doesn't take too much time. So if you are recording your episode once a week and your episodes are long, then podcasting, it'll be a 1 hour, let's say 1 hour a week time commitment for recording. And then if you're editing everything yourself, writing everything, obviously that's going to take a lot more time too. But one of the best ways to cut down on time is set up once and record 4 episodes all at once for that month, or 2 for that month if you're doing 2. But record all of your content a month all at once, and usually you can do it for the following month. So if you're wanting to release episodes in November, record 4 episodes somewhere in October and have them all ready for November. That's going to save you a ton of time. You don't have to keep setting up over and over again. You can get all of your stuff done at once. You don't have to like warm up to recording over and over again. And then obviously, in the efforts of saving time, it's going to take a ton of time to edit your episodes and to write everything. And so you can use a company.
Yeah, I do think that, it always depends on what spot you are. Are you just going to are you just a private person that doesn't really,
hobbyist or something?
Exactly. Yeah. I can understand that somebody like that wants to learn how to do it themselves and puts that effort in. But if you come from a business perspective, your time is going to be worth a lot more than you putting it into that learning how to edit and learning how to write really good show notes. I think it's going to be just a better investment to pay somebody that knows exactly what they do, and it's going to take them 1/8 probably of the time that it takes you, and let them do it. And I think it's going to come out to be even cheaper than you losing so much time on it. You
will lose a ton of time.
I do really recommend, or we really recommend, outsourcing certain things.
Audio is probably the biggest one. Like we have a client who was spending 4 or more hours editing each of their episode. And obviously we have like professional audio engineers. I'm a professional audio engineer as well. And I started editing his podcast for him, and it was taking me about an hour. So not only was it taking way less time in total, and we all accumulatively save more time, but his time was very valuable. Like, what do you value your time at? $50 an hour, maybe more, probably more if you're a business owner.
Yeah.
So you're spending like $200, maybe $250 per episode editing, where you can outsource it for way less. So that's just something to think about. But in general, even if you're doing everything yourself, it does not take too much time to edit or to produce your podcast.
No.
Your audio doesn't have to be perfect. Your editing doesn't have to be perfect. Just get your content out there, get your message out there, get in front of the mic, do it all at once. Take 4 hours at the beginning of a month, get tons of content from it, get social media clips, get a full YouTube video for each episode, get all the podcasts out on Spotify and Apple Music. I mean, it's Apple Podcasts. It's a no-brainer. It really doesn't take too much time. And we can say that as for a fact for all of our clients. And man, is it ever worth it. So that would be the 6 main lies that we hear about the industry, the 6 main complaints that we hear from people who are wanting to start a podcast. So taking that all into account, if you want to download our free 9-step PDF that we were talking about, literally outlines a lot of this stuff that we talked about here. Pretty much everything goes more into detail in that. Head over to the show notes, click on the link, drop us your email. We'll send you over the PDF. It's perfect. So thank you for listening to this episode. What are we going to be discussing on the next one?
Next time, we're going to discuss the best 5 ways to grow your podcast.
Yeah, so marketing, growth, all that stuff. And that'll be coming out in 2 weeks, because we're releasing once every 2 weeks on Mondays. Thank you very much, and we'll see you next time. Bye.
Bye.